everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for the week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the heavy metal psychic, and these are the horoscopes for the week ending 6/6/2015. And we're going to get right to it with Aries. We're on our last full week of the Mercury retrograde, and the Mercury retrograde has actually been in your favor this week, as Uranus forms a sextile between Mercury, the Sun, Mars for a minute this week, and of course Jupiter over there in Leo. And money is really what this is all about this week for you guys. You're going to find that you're going to have the money available to be able to do some of the things that you wanted to do or achieve some of those goals when it comes to your career. And the best part is where Jupiter is sitting, he's really helping you break those old patterns of things that have happened before that have stood in your way from this sort of progress. And unfortunately, Uranus is square with Pluto. It's kind of one of those instances that have happened in the past, especially on Thursday as the moon conjuncts with Pluto, making this a little bit more difficult. And this feeling is really going to make you feel as if those that you love are kind of sort of pulling that money in their direction versus you being able to actually put it towards your career and your goals like you would like to. If this seems like a all too common pattern that has happened before, chances are it is. And you're really going to want to rely on your intuition on this one. If it feels like this isn't really needed for those that you love right now and you could really use it towards boosting your career, then do so. Don't allow those responsibilities to those that you love hold you back from your career goals either. You can have everything, and you don't have to sacrifice if you don't have to. If this isn't an emergency situation with a loved one, then you may have to say, you know what, I can't help out right now. I'm really sorry. And focus on your dreams. It's about high time that you did, really, when you think about it. And if this seems to come up a lot, that's one of those old patterns that has been getting in your way of success. You want to nip that in the bud now, especially if this is a reoccurring issue with the same person, because ultimately it's in your best interest and theirs for you to succeed in your career. So when it comes down to it, there's a lot of really positive energy, but at the same time, there is a little bit of a negative pull, and it is a little bit heavy, but you deserve to do what you need to do for you. Don't hesitate to jump up and grab it, and have a great week with that. Taurus, it's all about your goals and dreams this week. And this week, the energy is ripe and beautiful to start coming up with a plan to see those dreams in action and turn them into a reality. Belief in what you can do and what you accomplish is really the first step towards being able to achieve any kind of success. And oftentimes, that disbelief in ourselves to be able to be successful is the biggest thing that gets in the way of us making any progress. But this week, dare to change that around and just do it, just to see what might happen. You never know what could happen from it. Success is not necessarily defined in the reflection of what's in your bank account, nor is it defined on the very happy and accommodating faces around you that are there to support you. Success really is defined in you being able to achieve something for you. And if it's important to you, that right there is enough to put the time into it and make something out of it. Then after that, once you've finished it, that's a perk. And anything that happens after that happens, it's just a blessing all the way around when you think about it. So dare to kind of look a little bit outside the box. Rein yourself in there a little bit. If you've got a goal or a dream, you've got something in your mind. Let's say it's a book that you want to write. Write the book. Maybe the whole reason why you need to write that book is just to be able to put those words out on paper. If you finish it, then it's a perk. If something happens with it afterwards and you sell it and become a famous author, that's a huge blessing that comes out of something that you were already successful at when you started the process in the first place. So dare to dream big and make things happen this week. And you guys, good luck and have a great week with that. Gemini, happy birthday to all the Geminis born this week. It's a great week, and there's beautiful aspects that are coming together to really, really boost you forward when it comes to your career. As Mercury and the Sun form a grand sextile between them and Jupiter and Uranus, and it all points to brilliant success in your career. However, at the same time this is all taking place, the Sun and Mercury are still in opposition with Saturn. And when the Moon moves in to conjunction with Saturn on Monday and Tuesday, and we have a full moon to boot, there is definitely some issues there, especially when it comes to some aggravation in that career. And what tends to happen when we have aggravation sometimes in one part of our life, it seems to fall out in other parts of our life. So that opposition becomes a T-square on Tuesday, bringing Neptune into the mixture, and we're talking relationships, we're talking things at home, we're talking all kinds of things, just feeling like you're having problems with everybody. You can't communicate. Classic Mercury retrograde miscommunications going on here. You want to take a step back and walk away from the situation. You can, if you feel yourself, you feel these emotions and these aggressions starting to take over in you, that's when you need to step back. Because the truth is, you don't want to deal with this situation on an emotional basis. That really never works out very well for you. You want to leave the situation, come back when you're clear-headed, and be able to deal with it in a productive way rather than possibly destroying everything that you've been working towards because you lost your temper. The truth is that everybody is not out to get you in this situation, but unfortunately, as things just sort of seem to kind of not work in one place, it sort of falls out into other aspects of your life, and your own perception and your own mood oftentimes does rule what happens in the outcome. So take that step back, take some time for you, walk away, take a walk, clear your head, come back and deal with the situation in a much more productive manner, and see the results of that throughout the rest of the week. As the moon moves out of that position and out of that conjunction, the T-square goes away, and the sun moves out of opposition with Saturn at the same time. So you're only left with an opposition with Mercury. And after everything that's been going on lately, that definitely feels a heck of a lot better than all of the turmoil that has been going on. So you guys enjoy the last full week of Mercury in retrograde. Yes, it's almost over. Thank goodness. We're so happy for that. And make that count, because the truth is that sometimes saying nothing means everything to the outcome of the situation. You don't want to say too much in this particular case. So you guys do a good job and have a great week with that. Cancer, as Venus finally moves out of that squared position with Uranus, you can feel the full effects of her trine with Saturn this week in big and beautiful ways, as she's showing you the love on so many levels. It's just extraordinary. This particular aspect of this trine between Venus and Saturn is purely there to show you how much love and support you do have, simply because you take your responsibilities to those that you love so seriously, and you're really going to feel their gratefulness and their love reciprocated this week in such beautiful ways. The other big thing about this aspect is Saturn being in retrograde right now. Saturn's retrograde really points to where you have a tendency to take on too much responsibility. And this is all in how you're thinking about the situation. A lot of the time, we look at the situation as, did I do enough? Maybe I should be doing more for this particular person. And that's taking on more responsibility than really you need to. The truth is, worrying about whether you've done enough for people always puts you in the mindset of feeling like you're never going to do enough for everybody around you. This week is all about enjoying and reaping the benefits of everything that you've done for everybody around you that you love, and really just sitting back and enjoying the time with them, because that's really important, just as important as the care that you put into those that you love. So you guys enjoy this last week of Venus. because she's moving on Friday and leaving your sign. And enjoy being surrounded by that love, because gosh darn it, you guys definitely deserve that. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, Jupiter's grand sextile with Uranus, Mercury, and the Sun this week is just making explosive waves when it comes to advancements in your career and in the bank, which is definitely good news. Everybody likes more money, right? And it's not necessarily just more money. It means that not only do you have the money that you need, but a little bit extra even to get what you want, which is fantastic. And as if that news wasn't good enough, Venus is coming into your sign right at the end of the week on Friday, ready to show you the love. So you've got career moves, you've got money, you've got love. What more does one person need, right? The energy is so beautiful this week for things going well for you. You might even think that it's going too well, and the one thing that you want to do is throw that right out the window. You deserve to spend time enjoying the time with those that you love, and not necessarily spending all of your time thinking about what you need to do to take care of these people. Enjoy their time instead of worrying about what you need to do to keep them around you. That kind of thing will get in the way eventually. It always does, unfortunately. And you guys, after so many different things that you've been through in the last few months, definitely deserve to feel the love, spend a little bit of money on yourself, and make those improvements in your career that you have been trying to make. So you guys, make the best of this energy. Make the best of this opportunity and thoroughly enjoy yourselves this week. Virgo, it is truly all about you this week, and the dark moon is in your sign all week long. The only aspect in your sign, and she doesn't have quite the hefty lesson that she normally has this week. She's actually going a little bit light on you. However, not totally light on you, I'm afraid. When it comes to feeling like you have to compromise yourself, your beliefs, who you are, in order to be able to deal with a situation or a person in your life, you may just find yourself thinking that that situation or that person just isn't worth your time. If you have to not be you or change who you are in order to satisfy whatever it is, a situation, a job, a company, family members, other people, whatever, it's simply not worth it to you. And you don't have to feel stuck in this situation. Like, for example, if it's a job, but it's the only job in the world. No, it's not. There's never only one job in the world. There's always something else that you can do. You're a Virgo, and you should not compromise who you are or change anything about you in order to satisfy what somebody else thinks. What you should do is be exactly who you are and let the energy flow and take you to where you should be, rather than staying in a place where you might be semi-miserable, obviously, because people want you to change. You don't have to change in order to make other people happy, and if you do, they're not worth your time. So this week, it's time for you to stand your ground, be who you are, be who you know you want to be and who you can be. And whatever happens, don't let anybody change your mind on that, because you are awesome just the way you are. So you guys, have a great week with that. Libra, it's all about off with the old and in with the new this week when it comes to not just your surroundings, but also some of the internal you. When you find that you have a lot of stuff, and we're talking actual physical stuff laying around, stuff that you don't need, things like that, it clutters up your space, it clutters up what's going on in here too, because it's just so many distractions around you. And sometimes it can be hard to concentrate. And it's definitely an easy distraction when you need to focus on something that you're having a really hard time with. So this week is all about decluttering your space. Get rid of the old junk if you don't need it anymore, or if you don't want it anymore, to make room for something that you do want, something that maybe you've been thinking about getting that you just either don't have the room for or you don't have the money for. Hey, sometimes you can sell off all that old junk too and make a little bit of money off of it. While you're doing this, the act of cleaning and getting rid of also helps you to declutter up here at the same time. So you're moving and getting rid of old thoughts and old thought patterns. And at the same time, you're sort of checking things off of your list and freeing up space and time here as well as in your external space to be able to get more accomplished. And you're also making room for new stuff rather than hanging on to the old stuff. You don't want to hang on to the old stuff because it really is no longer serving you any longer. So this week, take some time to go through the stuff around you in your external world as well as your internal world. This is going to make you more than ready to be able to tackle the next things that are coming up for you, which are awesome. Don't worry about it. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, the moon kicks off the week in your sign on Sunday and Monday, and when the moon moves in conjunction with Saturn on Monday, you're definitely going to be feeling the squeeze as she forms a T-square with Neptune, the Sun, and Mercury. And the moon being in that position along with Saturn makes it even more intense. You get a lot of emotions there, and Mars influence is slightly felt there, so there's a little bit of aggressive tendencies there too that you want to be mindful for. This is really going to throw things into making it feel like all eyes are on you for everything that's going wrong around you. And this is not necessarily all people accusing you of doing this, but you may be thinking in your mind or feeling like all eyes are on you and accusing you of throwing everything out of balance. Now, if you feel like a firecracker waiting to go off, which is highly possible in this situation, it might be time to disappear for maybe a day or so and take some time away from the situation, especially if you feel like you're having to force things to happen in order for them to happen. They're not going to happen if you have to force them. And forcing them gets in the way of the natural flow of things happening on their own. So the best thing to do is take a step back, even if that means that you've got to take a day off from the world and spend it in bed that day. You have that right to do that when you need to. And this way, after it's all said and done by Tuesday, everything is going to be a lot smoother, especially as Saturn's opposition just turns into an opposition with Mercury, which even though it's still in opposition with Mercury and there still is some issues there, especially when it comes to your career, it's not going to be as bad as it has been because there's not as much influence in it. Keeping this shut, not saying you guys talk too much, but keeping this shut and listening is your best defense in order to get through this opposition, because with Mercury's retrograde, miscommunications can happen at any time. And all it takes is one little thing to throw everything off. So listen, observe, use that intuition. You know you have a great intuition, you Scorpios do. Use that rather than trying to use this and trying to talk your way out of it at the same time. You'll be able to see how things are flowing and be able to jump back into that flow and get done what you need to get done. So Saturn is almost officially back in Scorpio, is in the true cusp between Scorpio and Sagittarius at 0 degrees. And next week, he's definitely going to be in Scorpio. But next week, there won't be these annoying oppositions, which makes things a heck of a lot easier. And his current trine with Venus gives you the support that you need. So you're not going at this alone anyways. So you guys do a good job and have a great week with that. Sagittarius, we've got a Sagittarius full moon coming up on Tuesday this week. And when that happens and she moves into T-squared position with Neptune, the Sun, and Mercury, things might be a little bit crazy, especially as you feel the same old situation coming up, where everywhere around you, whether it's your professional or your personal relationships, you feel more excuses than you do actual action taking place. And this can be really, really frustrating, especially when you're counting on all these people to be able to do what they need to do. and you're kind of sitting there waiting. At the same time, though, she also is in perfect position to make one great big grand fire trine for the day to help out this aspect, bring in money and financial assistance, making that available, and showing you some very valuable lessons of the past. And these past lessons are very important because they're showing you how, in the past, reacting in an overly emotional or aggressive way didn't help the situation. Lean on your support system this week, as Saturn, even though it's on the cusp of Sagittarius and Scorpio, is still very much felt in Sagittarius. And his trine with Venus gives you the love and support that you need. Take advantage of this support system because that's what it's there for. It's there to help you navigate your frustration, it's there to help you navigate the situation, and it's there to help you turn this situation into kind of a crummy one into the one that you can actually work with and see some progress, because that's what you've been waiting for, is the progress of the situation, and it's coming. So don't lose hope now, guys, because we're so close to the end of these oppositions. Mercury is the only one in opposition with Saturn after Tuesday. That makes it a lot easier than it has been with so many other planets. Bottom line is, again, you want to keep this shut. With the Mercury retrograde and the Saturn retrograde combined, two retrogrades don't make a right. So make sure that you listen before you respond, and don't listen to respond, but listen to understand. Because if you do that, you'll understand where the other person's coming from rather than reacting on an emotional level. And you definitely want to understand where the other person's coming from in this situation. So you guys, have a great week with that. Capricorn, Pluto square with Uranus this week. It kind of feels like it threatens your financial independence a little bit. Or does it? Pluto's also in a perfect position, forming a sextile with Neptune, really showing you on a deeper level situations and relationships that maybe it's about time you took a little bit of a break from work and went and spent some time with somebody that you haven't spent time with in a while. And this financial independence issue could very well be nothing more than, do I really want to spend money on that trip right now, or taking the time off from work in order to do this? And the answer is yes. You can always make more money, but time spent with people that are really important to you, you're never going to have a chance to get that back. You're never going to have a chance to remake up memories that you could be making right now. And you Capricorns are so workaholic sometimes that you need to take that step back, and you need to take some time for you to enjoy yourself. Not to mention how important it is for the other individual in this relationship at the same time. It may be just exactly what they need right now, too. So don't beat yourself up over the money. It's not that much money that we're talking about. But to take some time out, spend some time with those that you love, the people, some of those relationships that are really important to you, especially those ones that you haven't had a chance to really spend a lot of time with. I guarantee you are not going to regret it, and you can always make that money back. So you guys, have a great week with that. Aquarius, let's start off the week with some luck with the part of fortune coming into your sign Sunday and Monday, as a matter of fact, giving you some energy to really get things organized when it comes to your daily schedule and sort of get you situated to having things running like the well-oiled machine that you like them to be. That's always nice, but don't expect it to happen forever, because life always brings a little wrench into things. It just happens. But right now, this kind of energy is all about getting organized, getting your schedule organized, but also looking at those things that you tend to put on the back burner. We Aquarians are very good at that whole back burner thing. We'll get to it later. Over time, that stuff really starts to pile up, and even if it's not staring you in the face, it's sitting in here, and you know that you have to do it. It's just hanging over your head, and it becomes a weight after a while. This week is all about cleaning out that back burner and not putting anything on it again. so that you can keep your schedule and your mind free to be able to conquer all the new things that are coming up in your schedule and in your day-to-day activities. It makes things a lot easier, a lot smoother, and it makes you feel a lot lighter too when you can get these things done that have been nagging at you for a while. So you guys do a good job with that and have a great week. And finally, Pisces. Neptune square with Mercury, the Sun, and Mars this week becomes a T square as the moon moves into position to make it a T square. When this happens, it's going to be very intense, especially with the moon being involved and Mars being involved. You've got some frustration. You've also got some intense emotions there. And it does sort of feel like everybody, all of your relationships, whether they be professional or personal, are kind of sort of turning their back on you for a minute. This is a mindset thing, though, as Saturn is a part of this because of the conjunction or his conjunction with the moon. This is your own responsibility when it comes to how you're thinking about the situation. If you go through a difficulty, you hold on to it, and then you go somewhere else and you portray that out to somebody else. You may not explain to them what's happening, you just have the mood there, and so the other person thinks it's their fault. It causes an issue, and this snowballs all over the place. You want to try and avoid that as much as you possibly can, even if that means explaining to other people what's bothering you ahead of time or right from the get-go so they understand that it has nothing to do with them. You can avoid a lot of arguments and issues with that. Also, Neptune sextile with Pluto this week really shows you those that you love that really are there to support you. Those unchangeable people who are always there no matter what. And sometimes they're the hardest people to see because they're right there under your nose at times. But they're always there to support you. They've always got your back. And spending some quality time with these people is going to help you put your perspective back where it needs to be so that you can get through this difficult situation and move towards achieving your goals one more time. As the moon moves out of that position, Mars moves out of that squared position with the Sun and Mercury. And even though that does make it a lot easier, it's still a little bit sticky throughout the week. But as we move into the following week, the Sun moves out of that square also, and you're left with just Mercury. And Mercury's not going to stay there for very long. So when it comes down to it, there's a lot of advancement you can make in your career, even though there's a little bit of a difficulty. But getting past the difficulties is really what makes it worth it in the end. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks for watching the horoscopes again this week. You guys are totally awesome, and I'm incredibly indebted to you all. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. You've got all of our links here on the videos. Check us out if you're interested in a reading, classes. We've got new classes coming up right now, as a matter of fact. Check us out on Grateful Fairy Wings Faithfuls, our Facebook group on Facebook. We've got mediumship and astrology coming up, and you don't want to miss it out if you've ever been interested in learning those things. So you guys, no matter what, make it a great week.